So one argument I have heard in favor of socialist governments like the Soviet Union, China, and North Korea is that they were champions for women's rights. This gentleman says that women in North Korea have more freedom than women in South Korea because,
for example, North Korea passed the Law on Sex Equality in 1946. It gave men and women equal pay for equal work. Meanwhile, in the South, the civil code made men the leaders of the family.
Here's why I think 20th century socialist governments were actually opposed to women's rights.
In North Korea, women are denied the right to have political opinions that oppose the government. Andrei Lankov writes that under the reign of Kim Il-sung, some 0.6 to 0.7% of the country's population were political prisoners, and that there were an estimated 154,000 female and male political prisoners in 2011. Imagine if Donald Trump or Joe Biden had the power to throw you in prison for having a negative conversation about them with a family member. In China, women were denied the right to read the books that they wanted. Frank Decatur writes that in China, under Mao Zedong, books that were not approved by the Communist Party of China were banned and destroyed. Decatur notes that in one example, in Shanghai, a total of 237 tons of books were destroyed or sold as scrap paper between January and December of 1951. Imagine how large a bookstore would be if it were dedicated to only selling books that have been banned in China. Also in China, women were denied the right to choose the size of their families. Marian Tupy and Gail Pooley, citing the work of Chelsea Follett, write that China sought to reduce the size of its population, believing that an increasing population would exacerbate poverty. China's one-child policy resulted in hundreds of millions of women from 1980 to 2014 who were sterilized or given IUDs modified to be impossible to remove without surgery. In addition, people who violated the policy faced punishing fees, usually around 5 to 10 times a person's annual disposable income. Not surprisingly, this discriminated against poor women, since rich women could pay the fines, but the poor were often bankrupted, spending years of their lives paying the fees off.